Good day. So today is the first discussion that we're going to have in art appreciation. So in today's meeting, we're going to discuss about art, what is art, and uh, why we are going to take art appreciation. What is appreciation? So ano yung kinalaman nito sa ating subject, and what's the essence of taking this art appreciation subject that you have as one of the subjects that you need to take for you to finish your course, all right? So before anything else, let me start discussing, and let me share my screen to you for a moment. All right, so welcome again to Art Appreciation. This is our subject GNED 101 or GNED 1. So in this part, we're going to define what is art. So but before that, let us discuss first or analyze this painting. So bakit nandito tong painting na to? What is this painting all about? Or what is this artwork all about? Actually, this is a painting of Vincent van Gogh or Vincent van Gogh, or the Starry Night. Okay, so what's the story behind Starry Night? So anong kinalaman nito sa subject natin, and why is it at the beginning of this presentation? So looking into this artwork or into this piece of art, it's just at the first look, at the first glance, you will be noticing na mostly the whole artwork, okay, is like full of these chromatic blue colors, okay, that are twirled. Okay, so that is you'll be seeing the combination of chromatic blue, and some are white, okay, and some of the colors that you will be seeing here are black, especially example this one. This is cypress tree, okay, and then mostly more on twirl, okay, ng chromatic blue. And then the crescent moon here is having the yellow color, and the rest of the objects that are, of course, we expect that this is a kind of night sky view, right? And this lower part or the foreground of the painting, you'll be seeing this church. Ayan yung parang tore ng church, and the village, okay, the village. So if you're going to look at it, this is kind of a view, okay? So sino si Vincent van Gogh, and bakit ganito yung klase ng painting niya? Actually, class, if we are not aware of this, or kung hindi natin alam, this painting is one of the famous, okay, one of the famous or popular artwork. Imagine, look at that. Ganun lang yung kanyang itsura, pero one of the famous siya. So ano ba yung story behind that? So before we go on and before we define what is art, anong kinalaman nito? So this one is one of the famous artwork nga ni Vincent van Gogh. And actually, ano ba yung story behind bakit meron dito? So this time, nung pinaint ni Vincent itong painting na to, actually he was at the asylum kasi meron siyang mental illness during that time. So he was a great artist, but then he is suffering with a breakdown. Okay, actually nga, there was a moment na most of the time he is like trying to have the suicidal attempt. Okay, parang gusto niyang magpakamatay na lang kasi kung titingnan natin, parang he has no hope of the future, or there's no tomorrow. Parang wala siya nakikitang future sa buhay niya, wala siya nakikitang something that might happen to him, or something good that might happen to him in the future. That's why he keeps on having that kind of attempt. And since he has mental illness during that time, he was suffering with a breakdown and actually experienced a lot of relapses. Kasi most of the time, gagaling siya, tapos mag-aatake na naman, gagaling, aatake na naman. So he was suffering. Okay, he is in depression. Okay, that is why this time na nandun siya sa asylum, nagpa-confine siya doon, nag-stay siya sa asylum. So inside his room, the barred room, ito lang yung view na nakikita niya sa kanyang bintana. And since he is an artist, okay, he is a genius artist that uses style in painting with the subject that is mostly landscape, mga ganon. And of course, his painting mostly are based, or his paintings are mostly based on his observation. But at this moment, na nandyan nga siya sa asylum, wala siyang ibang subject na pwedeng gamitin or makita kasi ito lang yung nakikita niya. But then, it has been a great work of art and it has been one of the popular one. Okay, so the rest of the things about Vincent van Gogh, we will be talking about that if we encounter again one of his artwork at the upcoming discussion in this subject. Anyway, so why is this a piece of art that we use at the presentation, at the beginning of this presentation, that is in relation to art? Okay, that is an example of an art. And how are we going to define art? So we define art as an expression of and application of human creative skill and imagination. So art expresses humans' imagination, creativity, okay, through visual, okay, auditory, or even through other visual arts. So we also have the performed artifacts. So art could be expressed in different ways. It's very diverse. It's very dynamic. Okay, so if we are going to define naman appreciation, since our subject is art appreciation, so appreciation is defined as recognition and enjoyment of qualities of someone or something. So what do we mean by that? Is that when you look at the qualities of someone, so if you enjoy that quality, you like that quality, okay, you are going to recognize that, diba? Mostly, diba, when we appreciate someone, dinidescribe natin or ine-explain natin kung ano yung bagay na nagustuhan natin sa kanya, di ba? Parang, I appreciate your attitude, you are kind, sweet, gusto ko yung hair mo, ang ganda ng pagka-curl or something like that. So, that is mostly at the positive side. So, how can we say that we appreciate an example of art if, of course, di ba, we are different individuals, we have different perspectives when it comes to something. So when we look at something, every person has different perspective. So hindi yung maganda sa kanya, maganda sa'yo. Hindi yung bagay na kaaya-aya sa kanya, kaaya-aya sa'yo. So how are we going to appreciate art in that way that we will be encountering different styles of art, forms of art, or examples of art? So here, we will be having this lesson. That is why we're going to have the art appreciation, for us to have a deeper understanding about something. So what I like in the meaning or definition of appreciation is the second part, or the second one, which is full understanding of the situation. For my opinion kasi, if we are going to appreciate something, it's not like just for one glance or one encounter, we can easily or appreciate it immediately, di ba? Minsan, bago mo ma-appreciate ang isang bagay, may experience mo muna. O kaya naman, you will know well first, or you will have knowledge first about something until that such time that you will see other things or qualities that might help you, di ba, to realize yung mga good qualities na yun na nagugustuhan mo pala. So that is why a full understanding is needed for an appreciation. So you will have, you will appreciate art, I think, if you will understand that art well as the artist. So it will be discussed, or we will be dealing with those in this subject, in art appreciation subject. All right. So let us continue. Another thing, what is all about art? So of course, art could be two-dimensional, katulad nga nung sinabi ko kanina, di ba? The example of them are paintings, drawings, and prints. So what you can see now is one of the famous artwork as well. So alam naman natin yan, familiar tayo dyan. Minsan ginagamit pa nga yan sa mga commercial or even sa mga movies, di ba? Sa mga horror or comedy movies, minsan makikita natin dyan yung Mona Lisa na painting, di ba? So bakit naging popular ang Mona Lisa? Kung titingnan mo, it's like, ano lang naman siya, di ba? A portrait of a woman. Siguro kung titingnan natin during their time, the time of Leonardo da Vinci, the one who painted this, is parang siguro there is like this model. Kasi sabi, this is a commission art daw na pinapaint kay Leonardo da Vinci. So, a woman, kaya siya tinawag na Mona Lisa, parang shortened ng word na Madonna, or specifically most of the times, or yung parang pag tinatawag kang madam or ma'am, parang ganun yung ano niya, counterpart niya ng Mona. Okay, this Madam Lisa, parang ganun. Ma'am Lisa, parang ganun. Okay, so that's it. Kung titingnan natin, this is a simple portrait. Pero bakit naging napaka-famous niya, popular, dinudumog ng mga tao sa museum? Okay? At yun nga, there's a story behind. Okay? Aside from this is what, although this is simple painting, pero makikita natin yung ability, okay? Yung technical skill ng painter in this painting, kung paano niya pinaghahalo yung mga kulay, kung paano nag-a-appear na parang talagang real yung nasa painting. And one of the interesting here dito sa painting na to actually is yung pagkaka-paint ni Leonardo dun sa mata ni Mona Lisa, na di ba nga sikat yan na kapag sa mga bata nga parang minsan ginagawang panakot nga yan, di ba, na kasi lalo kapag gabi o kaya naman kapag nag-iisa ka lang na parang feeling mo nakatingin siya sa'yo. Tapos kahit saan ka pumunta, feeling mo sinusundan ka niya ng tingin. So, yun yung maganda sa part ng Mona Lisa. Okay, yung kung paano ginawa yung or pinaint ni Leonardo yung eyes na to. And other details about this is that bakit siya naging popular? Balik nga tayo doon. Kasi nga, itong Mona Lisa na nasa France Museum, in Louvre Museum, kumbaga nung araw, simpleng naka-display lang yan sa isang wall. One of the, kumbaga, collections, di ba, ng museum, ng bansa. But then, bigla siyang nawala, na walang nakakaalam paano siya nawala, walang nakakita, wala silang idea. So, ang nangyari dyan, naging palaisipan sa mga tao, bakit ganun? Ibig sabihin parang napakaluwag ng security sa Louvre Museum in France. Kasi nawala itong painting na to, and then it took 2 years bago siya na-recover or bago siya naibalik. Kasi after 2 years, may tumawag or may nag-report at sinuplong niya yung sarili niya, inamin na niya na siya ang nagnakaw ng painting ni Mona Lisa. And actually, that person ay isang carpentero or carpenter on that specific museum. At ninakaw niya tong painting na to kasi para sa kanya, it doesn't belong to that museum. It belongs to the like Italian museum, something like that, not in the France museum, which is in Louvre Museum. So after that, nung naibalik siya, doon na, kumbaga, syempre kumalat yung balita, 2 years na nawala, and then naibalik. And yon naging interesting para sa mga tao. Ano bang meron? Ba't nawala ito? And so on. So simula nun, naging, kumbaga, ano na, sikat na tong Mona Lisa painting, na minsan nga may mga tao pang gumawa ng pangit, binato, or hinagisa ng mug, something like that. May mga nasira pang part yan. Siguro inayos na lang nila, and then that is why ngayon, kung pupuntahan natin siya doon, nakalagay na siya sa isang bulletproof glass. So kahit anong gawin mong bato dyan o kahit barilin mo pa yan, hindi mo na siya magagalaw or makukuha. Okay? And another interesting thing about this painting is that it is not an ordinary one, kasi other paintings, usually mga painters, they painted on the canvas, di ba? Kahit hanggang ngayon, artists painted on the canvas. Pero ito, what makes this painting also different from the rest of the paintings or artwork during that time is that because it is painted on a wood, on a specific type of wood. So, yun yung mga details natin about that. That is just a glimpse on some of the artwork for us to have the idea. Okay, that is one of the example of the painting. And let's proceed. Art also could also be three-dimensional like this. So yung mga sculptures, okay, yung mga objects na dinidesign na pwede mong mahawakan, na yung buong image niya ay makikita or pwedeng makita yung lahat ng side niya, that is three-dimensional. Example natin yung balloon dog yellow on the roof of the Metropolitan Museum. So marami naman example ng mga 3D or three-dimensional sculpture, ceramics, mga pan-display. Okay, so those are examples. And could also be four-dimensional. Okay, yung mga pinapanood natin, video, kinetic art, sa mga theater, sound art. So they are examples of four-dimensional. So diverse nga kasi 'di ba ang art, very dynamic, okay, and there are a lot of examples of that. So it affects the society and everything na meron tayo, even from the history, social status, political issues or whatever, lahat yun could be all related to art. Okay, next. So where do you usually see artwork? So we usually see artwork at the museum, sculptures, okay, mga examples of art usually sa museum, doon natin sila matatagpuan lalo na sa panahon ngayon kasi kino-collect yan ng mga bawat state or ng bawat bansa, and then they are becoming, especially yung mga historical, they are becoming a nation's treasure and they are usually placed at the museum. So this museum is the Louvre Museum, yung binabanggit ko kanina kung saan matatagpuan ang Mona Lisa, and that is the largest or the biggest museum in the world. And also not just the largest or the biggest museum in the world, but also that is the place where you can see a lot of artwork that are historical. Okay, so halos lahat ng mga artwork na based sa history diyan matatagpuan. So kaya sikat na sikat din yung museum na yan. Sa atin sa Pilipinas, we have this National Museum. I believe some of you already visited that. So doon natin naman din makikita yung mga artwork na ginawa ng mga sikat na artist natin, and from those artwork makikita rin natin, makaka-relate tayo what happened in the past, in the history, kasi paintings, artworks or piece of art brought us to the past, help us to understand the origin and understand also the situation faced by the artist during that time, and even the political or government situation, okay, issues related, social problems, issues related. So doon, okay? So it's like not just a piece of art or something that you can see or view, but also it gives a lot of information and stories to us. Okay, where can we see also art? We can see examples of those in the streets, di ba? Sa mga kalsada, makakakita tayo mga display sa paligid natin, like this example, the cone. Okay, this is the drop ice cream cone. Okay, on the top of the building, di ba? Parang somewhat strange, pero in an artistic person, so it's like this is a kind of art na parang nakakatuwang tignan, di ba? Something like that. And especially, di ba, lahat ng tao, mapabata, matanda, nag-enjoy or happy when it comes to knowing, hearing, and even eating ice cream. So it has relation maybe to the merchandising or advertisement of something kasi it is placed at the top of a certain building or like a mall. Okay, so that's it, an example. You can also see art in the field. This is an example of an art in the field. Actually, this is a Stonehenge, which is found in England. Okay, napaka prehistoric nito, sobrang tanda na nito, 1,000 years ago na. So parang hanggang ngayon, it's like people were thinking paano ginawa to, bakit, for what purpose, for ritual purposes ba. So yung mga big, high stones na yan, they are usually made by sarsen and bluestone, something like that, na nakatayo dyan sa specific place na yan. So they are very huge and tall stones. More or less parang kasing laki ng isang typical na bahay, around 4 meters, something like that. Okay, ang isang stone. So this is also an example, okay, of an artwork that also brought us to the very, 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 very long time ago, ancient time, maybe panahon pa ng mga bato or Stone Age, something like that. So this is a Hall of Bulls at Lascaux that is also in France, but actually this is just a replica. Hindi ito yung original kasi yung original, they were already closed for the public viewing, but this one is like the replica for us to still see, okay, for us to still imagine and have the idea how this Hall of Bulls at Lascaux looks like something na kung paanong on the wall of this cave you will be seeing the paintings, okay, drawings, okay, na meron dyan, knowing that yung mga tao in the past, wala pa silang technology or whatever, but then they were able to produce this kind of artwork na mostly mga animals, mga beasts maybe in the forest, because yun yung ano yung lifestyle nila siguro during that time. Ito yung mga na-encounter nila. So there's a meaning behind this artwork. Okay, what else? So what images come to mind when you think of an artist? So when we study art appreciation, we are not just going to study a certain or specific artwork. We will also be dealing on the artists themselves who made those artwork. Okay, because knowing them also, we would understand why they made that kind of artwork. Okay, the reason behind the story, and most of them were interesting. Okay, looking at this example. So kung titingnan natin itong example na to, if you are a young child, for example, sa mga bata mo siya ipakita, they will not appreciate it. What will happen? They might feel afraid upon looking at it, di ba? Kasi para siyang scary, para siyang something na pang horror, nakakatakot. Yung illustration pa lang sa background at that part, di ba? Nakikita natin yung parang pang nakakatakot yung dating because of the combination of colors, the red and the orange. Okay, that is like, of course, showing a sunset. So para siyang sunset, no? And then anong meron dito? Image ng dalawang tao na naglalakad na para bang they go on their way, and then this person in the very front na medyo hindi mo ma-figure out kung ano ba to, babae o lalaki, kung tao ba to, it's like a ghost. But then you can see the emotion on the figure na parang it's like a mixture of emotion. Okay, that's why the title of this artwork or this painting is The Scream by Edvard Munch. So, anong meron? Anong idea? Bakit ganyan yung klase ng painting ni Edvard Munch? Okay? So, kung titingnan mo dito, it's like they are crossing the bridge. But then, parang sa pangyayari kasi dito, firstly, magkakasama silang tatlo. And then suddenly, parang siyang naiwan. It's like showing, this painting is like showing a certain feeling or emotion of loneliness, anxiety, depression. Like this person is like showing that the imager is having panic attack. Ayun, familiar kayo sa panic attack sa panahon ngayon. Ang dami nakaka-experience niyan. So this painting actually is one of the famous painting. And this one is really, an example of a timeless. Ibig sabihin timeless, yung parang kung titingnan mo, it has painted how many years ago, 100 years ago, but then it seems like napaka-modern pa rin yung dating niya sa atin, especially if we are going to know the meaning behind. Kasi we all can relate to this painting. We all can relate to the emotion, the feeling that this painting is trying to show to us, okay? The meaning of this painting. So, pinapakita dito na even us, di ba? We can relate to this because even us, we can experience that sometimes we will be feeling like we are left behind. We are in a certain place na parang bigla mo na lang maiisip na you are alone, you are having problems, trials, sufferings, difficulties, and I think everyone can relate to that even up to this moment, lalo na sa panahon ngayon na we are facing this problem, this pandemic. I heard a lot of news na ang dami-daming tao, students, experiencing this situation na pinapakita ngayon dito sa painting na to. Okay, kaya that's why it is called timeless, because it is relatable. Everyone can relate from that time. Imagine, napakatagal ng panahon yan. But until this time, this painting is still showing the same situation that every individual is facing or suffering. Because the story behind Edvard Munch, he has this, I think, mental issue also, because he has a lot of trauma in the past from having a verbally abused father, from having a mother who died early, and his sister died as well due to tuberculosis, and other sister experienced to be mentally ill as well. So maybe parang napaka-tragic ng buhay ni Edvard, or even yung kabataan ni Edvard Munch, and that is why those feelings na and emotion na hindi niya kayang i-express, hindi niya masabi or wala siyang mapag-sharean through his artwork, through his painting, doon niya ito na-i-express, doon niya yun naipapakita. Kaya nga sabi, merong mga nagsasabi, one of the favorite daw nila tong painting na to kasi nakaka-relate ka dito sa painting na to eh. Okay? Because every one of us experience that. Anxiety, experience hurt, suffering, or even mental illness that nowadays ang dami nakaka-experience that we should not deny it. We should also face it, okay? Because we also experience this that we also suffer alone. We too suffer alone like Edvard Munch during that time. So that is why. So, di ba, at the first glance, you might have a different interpretation, but then knowing more of the information about the painting, you will understand and have ano yon, mas magkakaroon ka ng malalim, okay, na pagkaunawa about this artwork. All right. So what else? So this is an example of another artwork na sikat din because it is an artwork of Rembrandt van Rijn. Okay. So mahilig siya sa mga self-portrait. Ano ba yung mga self-portrait? Ibig sabihin yung pinipaint mo yung lagi yung sarili mo. So kung titingnan natin dito, magiging question natin, why is he doing that? Okay? Bakit lagi niyang pinipaint ang sarili niya? Actually, he has 100 self-portraits during his lifetime. Okay? Dun sa kanyang buong buhay ay 100 times niyang ipinint ang sarili niya. 'Di ba? Ang galing if you can paint yourself. So ano ba yung dahilan? Hindi naman siguro parang naka-focus siya sa sarili niya or something, pero it seems like the reason is that he wants to record. Kasi 'di ba during that time wala namang camera, wala namang ano pa siguro, or kung meron man still 'di ba? Since he is an artist, so sabi nga dun sa isang painter na he knows well himself. She knows well herself. So, ang mga painter, katulad nito, they usually do that, the self-portrait. Okay, so ito ang another example. Okay, this one also is one of the paintings na madalas din ay pinag-aaralan ng mga tao because this is also something na may deep meaning. Okay, kita naman sa painting, no? Pag tiningnan mo pa lang yung painting, so parang mapapaisip ka na kaagad. So, iisipin mo na kaagad, what's in the mind of the painter? Why she did that? What's in the mind of the painter or what she is facing? Is she suffering from something? May illness ba siya? May problema ba siya sa puso? Bakit dito sa kanyang painting nakalabas ang puso niya? So this is a painting that is known to be the two Fridas by Frida Kahlo. So itong two Fridas parang twin sila, pero actually self-portrait yan. Kumbaga sarili din niya yung pinaint niya diyan. But then you will be seeing here na parang may dalawang magkamukha sila, parang twins, pero they are wearing different attire. And they both show or parehong nakikita, okay, naka-expose yung heart part nila. And then, dito sa isang part, so parang simple attire lang meron siya, parang pang-ordinaryong tao. Ito naman is parang medyo parang kabilang sa medyo mataas, okay, na level ng pamumuhay. So but then this one is yung pagkaka-expose ng heart niya, hindi lang expose yung heart niya, maging yung inner part ng heart ay expose pa. Alam mo yun yung part nandyan. So you might be thinking, ano ba to, related sa medical field? Bakit ganyan yung painting? Okay? So this one is showing pa yung kanyang mga, di ba, atrium, ventricle, and the veins, nakalabas, diretso dun sa may kamay niya na may hawak siyang parang something like scissors, and then tumutuloy yung dugo mula sa vein. And then from that, meron namang connecting vein papunta dun sa heart nung parang kakambal niya dito sa self-portrait na ito. Pero dito yung heart niya is buo, hindi kagaya nito na naka-open. Okay? At meron siyang hawak dyan, yung maliit na yan, it's like, alam niyo yung nilalagyan ng picture na gano'n. So yun. So anong story behind this? Bakit ganito yung drawing ni Frida? Actually, Frida also is, alam mo yun, merong ding deep meaning bakit ganyan ang painting niya. So look at the background of that, na stormy sky siya. So, di ba sa atin, when we think of the storm, it symbolizes problem, trial. And then this heart, bakit siya open? It might be showing that she is like a broken-hearted. Kasi sabi nila, during the time daw na pininto ni Frida, is ito yung time na nakipag-divorce yung asawa niya sa kanya or yung nag-divorce sila ng asawa niya. So might be that time she was broken-hearted, at hindi lang siya broken-hearted, there are other reasons kung bakit ganyan ang kanyang painting. Okay? So in that time as well, is siguro kasi mayroon ding mga mga alam niyo yon, pangit na mga experiences kasi actually Frida is experiencing or meron siyang polio. So alam naman ng polio, hirap makalakad yan. So aside from that, nagkaroon pa siya ng accident, bus accident, na kung saan nakaranas siya ng maraming operation. So that might be also one of the reasons na related dito sa part na to. Na because of that operation, nag-result ito para siya maging baog, hindi siya magkaanak. Okay? And ayun, so yun pa nga ang ending, nung nagkaasawa nga siya, nag-divorce din naman sila. So alam mo yun, parang ang daming trials na kinakaharap niya. So that is why it can be shown through this artwork of Frida Kahlo. Okay. What else? So this is also another example that is from Egon Schiele. So si Egon Schiele naman, this is also an example of self-portrait with splayed fingers. So ito naman, wala namang masyadong kinalaman siguro sa kanyang problems or issues. It's like talagang gusto lang niya mag-explore sa klase ng style na gusto niyang gamitin sa kanyang mga artwork. Kasi if you're going to see his other artworks, other paintings, mostly halos parang mga ganito yung style na slender, very thin, and long, stretch fingers, usually ganyan nga, naka-splayed fingers na parang scissors, okay? Laging ganon. So yan yung style na gusto niyang i-practice during that time na might be influenced by many reasons. So sabi nila, one of the reasons is gusto niya ng mga exotic way kasi iba-iba naman ang artist, di ba, na gusto nilang gawin or gusto nilang gamitin na style, or might be he was influenced by 20th and 19th centuries exotic way of dancing kasi may pagkahawig sa ganon, ganong presentation. And thirdly, kasi daw meron siyang contact with the people with mental illness. So parang it is somewhat inspired by those experiences. Okay, so that's from the painting of Egon Schiele. Okay, let's continue. So other things that are example of art is like this, na kung saan hindi lang siya parang for personal use. Okay, could also be through craftsmanship or for work, labor skill. So kasi nung araw, 'di ba, yung mga utusan sa mga hari, okay, merong mga ang trabaho nila taga-paint, taga-draw, taga-gawa ng something. So parang ganon. So this is an example of that. It is in the parang castle or sa isang kingdom na kung saan pinapakita dito na parang itong yung batang ito, nag-aaral siya, tapos ito yung parang mentor niya. Kasi the story behind this is that yung king is namatay siya, and then ang papalit sa kanya yung anak niya. So maybe it's like training the young one or the young man to have the kingdom, okay, to be trained kung ano yung mga dapat niyang gawin, okay, para sa pagiging hari niya. Anyway, let's continue. So this is another example of, actually this is by Willem de Kooning, Detail of a Woman. So if you're going to see this kind of painting, will you appreciate this? Di ba? Parang ma-appreciate ko ba yan, ganyan ang itsura niya, di ba? It's just a combination of different hues or colors na medyo light ang dating, grayish, okay, na may mga light pink, light lang na yellow, and then yung itsura is like para siyang babae pero it is an abstract, alright, na kung saan parang exage yung ibang other part ng kanyang katawan, kung saan tulad ng kanyang breast part na medyo malaki tapos nakalabas na ganon. Yung hindi siya yung typical na abstract, di ba? Pagka, usually, especially nung araw, pag dinadraw yung mga babae, they are perfectly drawn, perfectly painted, kahit mga nude painting pa nga, pinapakita doon yung parang perfection when it comes to the beauty. Pero this one, iba. Okay, malaki yung mata niya, yung ilong niya hindi maganda, yung ngipin niya nakalabas, and then the labi, something like that. But then if you're going to know the story behind, Willem de Kooning is also exploring on his style of art na kung saan gusto niya is mga ganito yung mga ways and style niya na kung saan ipinapakita niya dito yung this is actually sabi nga 'di ba detail of woman. Parang ano siya this is showing the representation of a woman which is the combination of being an idol, Venus, di ba? Pag Venus that speaks of beauty and at the same time, parang sa kanya ang mga babae parang overwhelming. Nandun yung reverence sa mga kababaihan and at the same time nandun yung parang fear sa mga babae. Kasi siguro dito, as we can see, parang talagang pinapakita dito how complicated a woman is, di ba? Parang ganon. So something like that. Anyway, let's proceed. So art may be a classical masterpiece showing heroic or ideal beauty. So when it comes to ideal beauty here, it is kind of sculpture na actually replica lang din ito na or copy of the original bronze. So this one is showing yung pagkakagawa ng sculpture ni Polykleitos na kung saan this is the Rhephorus or the spear bearer, a kind of warrior, di ba? So it doesn't mean naman na nakahubo siyang ganyan, labas ang kanyang genital, ang ganun ng mga warrior when they go to the battle. Hindi yon kasi ang focus dito is the human itself, the human body, from which they show it or they do it in a way that we can see the visual of ourselves, like the reflection of ourselves, kung ano ba talaga yung typical human body, its beauty and its perfection. Perfection not in a way of individuality or perfection as an individual. Perfection when it comes to the proportion of the human body parts that is mathematical. Kumbaga with the mathematical concern na kung saan pag tiningnan mo yung daw katawan natin, napaka-perfect ng pagkakagawa. 'Di ba? There's balance. 'Di ba? We have two eyes, all right? Yung arm natin, we have two and they are balanced with each other kasi dalawa sila at the other side pareho. Imagine kung isa lang, 'di ba? We are not like monsters na parang kakaiba yung feature or yung mga itsura. And then eto yung position niya dyan, hindi yan kasi yung typical na sculpture nung araw, especially during that time. Noon kasi ang mga sculpture before this kind of sculpture was made is talagang ano lang, typical lang na naka-straight, standing straight, na diretsong-diretso, something like that. But here makikita mo na yung ulo niya medyo nakalingon. Ayan, meron siyang ganong position na showing na may na kasi humahawak siya ng spear. So if you will imagine na may spear dyan, ganyan yung position niya. And then medyo hindi siya yung naka-steady straight na nakatayo lang. Medyo nakaangat yung isa niyang paa, yung kaliwa niyang paa, pointing the index finger, di ba, on the ground or on the floor. And then with this, medyo naka-slant siya, parang pa-S yung body niya. So talagang parang ano siya, showing another version ng artwork na hindi na yung typical na ordinary during that time. Kumbaga modern ang dating nito during that time. So that is an example, okay? And art may be an object chosen by an artist that is having a different context. So maraming examples ng art, especially pag pumunta tayo sa mga museum, no? So this is also an example. You can set on this. So ibig sabihin, a kind of artwork and at the same time has a use or uses and purpose. So pwedeng upuan pero at the same time artwork siya, di ba? You can gaze upon it or look at it, okay? Kaya nga we usually visit museum to see different artwork. You can also eat some of the examples of artwork katulad nito like a candy ng different colors na ganyan and then you can taste it, di ba? Pwedeng tikman, kainin. You can see them above sa mga matataas na lugar like in the Sistine Chapel, nandyan yung mga great work ni Michelangelo, di ba? In the Sistine Chapel. And you can see them down. Usually, they are sometimes drawn, painted on the ground, especially those examples are giving us illusion, katulad nito na parang kang pwede kang mahulog sa balon. I mean, parang balon na may hole or may butas pababa. Meron din naman mga gumagawa na parang akala mo pwede kang bumaba ng hagdan pababa and something like that. You are brought into different dimension through the different examples of artwork that is drawn on the ground. Okay? So it may be quiet like this. Okay, this artwork gives us a feeling of quietness, solitude. Okay, parang nakaka-relax, parang mapapahinga mo lahat ng niisip mo, yung utak mo sa mga bagay-bagay. So that is an example as well. So this one, there will be another session for this. This is an example of an artwork that is riotous naman, yung parang napakadaming meaning at glance sa isang art na to is napakadami niyang kino-convey sa atin, okay, na meaning na ano ba ang story behind, ano bang meron sa painting na to. Actually, this is not the whole painting of this detail of garden of earthly delights. Okay, napakalaki niyan. Ito small portion lang yung kinuha dito at nilagay dito, but this is not the actual picture of that painting kasi three parts yun eh. The first part, there's the second part rather, and the third part. So maybe we will discuss that next session kasi this is somewhat, hindi naman siya complicated, but there are a lot of details that we need to talk about this painting. All right? The painting or the artwork could also be showing religious beliefs, holiness, okay, especially during this time. Mostly yung mga iba pang artwork na sikat ngayon, they are related to religion. Okay, like this example of Michelangelo in the creation of Adam at the Sistine Chapel. Okay, so it is one of the work of Michelangelo. So familiar naman tayo dyan. Okay, so let's proceed. Also expresses the culture, as what I have told you. A specific artwork could be a door that opens for us to enter and experience, see what kind of culture, situation that this time where the painting originated. Okay, what is happening there, or what kind of culture that people in that specific era na meron during the time na ginawa yung painting. Okay, this is another example, which is the Olympia. So this is intriguing painting as well. So kasi para siyang binase dun sa mga paintings ni Venus na kung saan may another meaning or another impact, okay? Naging controversial nga itong painting na to. Although nung araw naman talagang dun sa mga Renaissance paintings, mostly meron naman talaga mga paintings na nude. But then anong pinagkaiba? Bakit naging controversial to? Hindi dahil nude din siya, okay? Hindi dahil, ayan, litaw din yung katawan niya. It's not like that. But then this painting kasi is portraying a girl or a woman who is a prostitute. Bakit? Look at the flower on her hair. Yung dyan, yung design. Kaya nung araw kapag may suot na ganyan sa may lieg, di ba nauso din yan yung something na nilalagay sa lieg. So that's for prostitute as well as her, ano tawag dyan? Yung jewelry niya or yung mga accessories niya dyan. So yung mga yon symbolizing na this woman is a prostitute. So another intriguing part on this painting is not just that this girl is an example of a woman who is a prostitute, but then ito yung pagkaka-paint ng kanyang mata na parang, alam mo yon, as she look on the viewer, pag tiningnan to, parang there's something, okay? Parang there's something kasi she can look at you directly in a way that you will be seeing or having the feeling na ano ba yung emotion ng babae. It's like, is she sad or happy or something like that? Na kung papansinin natin dun sa mga other paintings na meron nga nung mga goddess of beauty, nila Venus, although nude din sila, but then walang eye-to-eye contact na parang kagaya nito, in a way na yung mata niya is painted in a way that we can have like eye-to-eye contact sa kanya. So yun yung intriguing part dyan. So the rest of the details, ayan, meron siyang maid na may dalang flower, might be this flower is from one of her fans, kasi nga, di ba, kung prostitute man siya. And this cat, ano yan, kumbaga parang counterpart din nung pagkakagaya dun sa painting ni Venus na parang ganito nga rin siya. Okay, let us continue. Art also help us to define our ideals of beauty within our time. So kung nung unang panahon, ito yung description nila, this is how they consider what beauty is, then it changes over time. Okay, katulad natin ngayon, di ba? Na-appreciate na natin, katulad niyan. This is also beauty for us. Kaya nga, di ba, there is this definition na black is beautiful, di ba? So kung dati yung perfection pagdating sa beauty, iba yung idea ng tao, konsepto ng tao, it changes over time. Okay, when it comes to art as well, it changes over time. Okay, art also helps us to see the world around us. We will know and understand the other culture, other part of the world when it comes to the kind of art that they have, artwork that is being produced from a specific place. So it opens, okay, for us to see the world. This is an example, right? For example, in Egypt, we don't have idea, we never been there, but then through looking at this Book of the Dead by Hanifer, so this is an example of ancient Egyptian that is related to dead, okay? Or death rather. Okay, so this is Hanifer na itong painting na to or artwork na to, this is painted on a papyrus. What is papyrus? A kind of leaf that is usually planted or seen near the Nile or the Nile River. Okay, so dito si Hanifer, ayan siya, parang makikita mo dito, after niyang mamatay, ano yung mangyayari sa kanya? Ma-receive ba siya sa afterlife or not? So si Hanifer, makikita mo dyan parang siyang nakikipag-usap sa mga deity o pang mga goddess ng afterlife. Kasi yung mga writings dito, the hieroglyphs na naandito is related sa mga incantations or prayers na related sa death. And then it's like, it is important for them to know this kasi nga, kailangan nila to kapag ka namatay na sila. So this is Hanifer. After that, ito na yung next niya. So yan, ito si Hanifer for example, actually kasi in the ancient Egypt or ancient Egyptian culture, ang meron lang na i-record na mga ganitong scenario when it comes to katulad nito, usually is for the pharaoh or the kings. So yung mga pharaoh or kings na yan, usually sila lang yung may mga ganito. So this time, this is a kind of an artwork na kung saan meron din kahit hindi na sa king, kundi even for the scribe or yung mga medyo high rank na mga Egyptians. Okay? So ito nga example si Hanifer. He was led by the hand but by this god, the deity or god of death. Bakit siya god of one of the god of death? Kasi looking at the one na hawak niya, ang tawag dyan is Ankh. So that is related to death. At meron siyang anong tawag dyan? Meron siyang jackal head that is also related to cremation, to death. So siya yung magdadala sa portion part na ito. At dito makikita natin siya to see Anubis. So ito yung deity na yan, God of Death na yan, si Anubis, na inaayos niya, binabalance niya itong weighing scale na to. In this weighing scale, makikita natin sa other side, ito yung heart. That could be the heart of Hanifer nung nabubuhay pa siya. And then on the other side of this is the feather. And this feather is came from this deity din, na kung saan ang tawag dyan ay si Amot. And from there, ibabalance yan. So kapag dapat dyan, mas mabigat si feather. Ibig sabihin, pag mas mabigat si feather, light yung heart mo. So you live ethically, with ethical standard, maayos kang namuhay. So pwede kang tanggapin sa afterlife. So if not, kung heavy yung heart mo, then heavier than the feather, it means hindi ka nabuhay ethically with an ethical standard. So therefore, you will not be accepted in the afterlife and you will be eaten by this monster or this deity rather, that is having this crocodile head with a lion neck. Okay, meron siyang ano ng lion dito, and then with the body which is like for hippopotamus ba yon? Something like that. So therefore, you will not be able to enter the afterlife. Unlike sa atin, mga Christian beliefs natin is that after mong mamatay, di ba? Surely you will have afterlife. It's either hell or heaven. It depends on your work, di ba? So yan, kapag nakapasa na siya dyan, then this will be the other deity in this part na kung saan nakikita mo naka-stretch yung arm niya straight, and he is doing like a recording. So nire-record niya yung event na yan. So ibig sabihin, accepted si Hanifer, and then after that, ayan, dadali na siya ni Horus. So si Horus, that is the son of this king, okay, and that is Osiris. That beside him, meron diyang blossom or lotus blossom na merong parang four children. This represents the north, the east, the south, and the west. Okay? And beside this Osiris, yung kanyang asawa at kapatid, something like that. Anyway, so this one is giving us the information or the idea how the other people in other place or other country having their kind of belief in a specific thing like this about death. Okay, so that's it. And art also tell a story. Katulad nun, I told you a story about that, and that is being shown through that artwork. And art changes over time. So what I have told you, this is an example of an artwork from which there is this simple woman with the balance on her hand, and that is showing the Johannes Vermeer woman holding a balance. So it seems like this artwork is showing a balance that is okay, so that is showing for a moment. Okay, so that's it. Showing a balance, which is like giving us many things, many perceptions about this painting. So this one is with this part of the window na kung saan ayan, meron siyang small shadow, I mean small light that is passing through that slit na kung saan nagbibigay ng liwanag sa mukha ng babae up to the front part of that woman. And in front of that woman, meron mga boxes with some of the pearls on that box. And this at the back of the woman, there is that painting. So sa painting na yan, it is showing the judgment, that painting. Showing the judgment. Ito yung mga tao, sa mga pamumuhay nila, kung anong ginawa nila. And then later on, nandun sa likod yung tungkol sa kung paano sila i-judge. So therefore, it seems like this is showing the balance of life. Paano mo ba ibabalance ang buhay mo? This seems like the woman is a wealthy person. Okay, a wealthy person na ano ba, is she going to live according to, you know, wealth and material things, or religiously she's still having the belief or making it balance? So something like that. This painting shows a concept like that. Okay. So the way that the viewer approach art changes over time too. This is an example that I have shown you, or an example that I have told you a while ago kung paano dinudumog ang portrait na ito. Okay, or this painting of Mona Lisa in Louvre Museum in France. Okay, kasi nga it has been popular after that incident, and that time it gives the interest to the people because of what happened, and over time different artwork may change, okay, on how people approach. So sa panahon ngayon, I don't know if there is this still kind of approach among men when it comes to the painting. So nagbabago yan. Okay, so that's those are the example, and I believe through that we can understand why we are going to study art appreciation, because I brought you to different places, I brought you to different time through those artwork example pieces of art done by different artists. We even explore to the lives of the artists behind every piece of art that they had. So that is an example of an exploration, and we even analyze how they use the kind of style that they were using, the medium that they use, and how they express their ideas through their artwork. And that is what we call art appreciation, okay? The exploration and the analysis of art. Okay, so that's it. Now we are going to begin or start looking at those artwork, start having this art appreciation subject, and that would be discussed and be continued on our next meeting. So see you on our online class. Thank you for listening to this discussion. Good day and have a great day. God bless. Mm-hmm.